All right, hello, and welcome to this little video, very impromptu video. I was going to write out an email, so you should find this video embedded in the email. So I was going to talk about, or I am going to talk about, or I am talking about Myfitnesspal, my love-hate relationship with Myfitnesspal, and a couple of things that you should sort of consider when and if you decide to use Myfitnesspal to help you kind of track and log and record your foods and your eating and your lifestyle. Okay, so first of all, a couple of clients over the last few kind of weeks have been using Myfitnesspal and have kind of struggled to put in the kind of custom macronutrients that I've sent through and given. So Myfitnesspal generally tries to give you these kind of ratios of 30 40 30 or 40 40 20 or how to work out your protein, carbs and fats. So it's not a bad way to kind of do things. It's not really, for the last few years, it's not really used in the kind of professional sense in terms of a lot of the doctors and PhDs and guys and girls that I kind of follow. So all my kind of knowledge has always been based around calculating every macronutrient on its own kind of merit, as opposed to dividing them up over a percentage, okay? Because without getting too complicated and without drawing up tons of numbers on a whiteboard or a bit of paper, essentially, if you're going to have a high calorie intake and your fats are based on percentage, then you can, in effect, all it really means is that you end up increasing every macronutrient instead of increasing the macronutrient that you really want, or having a really low amount of a particular macronutrient. So say you want to go slightly lower carb in a day, or if you just want to control fats for a couple of days of the week or something, the percentages don't really give you that flexibility, okay? And if you go high or go low, every one of them are affected. So if you have quite a low calories, say you have like a low day of 1,500 calories or something like that, depending on that macronutrient spread, you could end up under eating protein, you could end up under eating fats as well, and just not putting enough kind of carbs in your body. Similarly, if you go quite kind of high, then everything is kind of increased, okay? And it just doesn't really kind of make sense, just because it is based off that percentage. So it's 30% of 1,500, it's 30% of 2,500, okay? As opposed to literally say, how many grams of protein does this person need to have, okay? And then the way that sort of I do it and a few other people kind of do it, it gives you the ability to literally tweak your macros to your activity, to your lifestyle, to your classes. So if you have 3, 4, 5 classes a day, yep, you can now suddenly put on an amount times body weight for carbohydrate, 3 times, 4 times body weight sort of thing. So it just gives you a much better way of calculating that out. So just something to kind of bear in mind. So if you are using Myfitnesspal, then please consider going in and adjusting your macronutrients away from the percentages that it kind of defaults to, and put down your own custom numbers. All right. I use a high-low split sometimes for clients. Sometimes it's one macronutrient across all week. And on some occasions, it's literally 3 or 4 different splits, just depending on the individual, depending on the circumstances and schedule. Okay, so that way, then you can at least input your own macronutrients that you need to kind of follow. For some of us, like myself, we kind of like a bit of old school, so I've used Myfitnesspal on occasion, but I do like using paper copy as well, so using like an A5 logbook, using an A5 notebook, my phone, and literally just kind of track as you go along. And any clients will be able to have those, and obviously they can have a personal resources folder in Dropbox that I have, where you can download the Excel spreadsheet, and you can literally type in your foods and your amounts as you go along, or you can print it off and you can write on it, or you can just literally grab yourself an A5, that's a diary, but A5 logbook or something bigger along those sides, right? And just carry it around with you in your bag or your purse, and just log as you kind of go. So whether you're punching into Myfitnesspal or logging it on a bit of paper, it doesn't really make a huge difference, just whatever really kind of suits you, okay? And just be aware of Myfitnesspal like to do the percentages, okay, for some strange reason. The other thing with Myfitnesspal, so of course it's really good and really handy. It does have pretty much most of the foods, your Tesco this and your Morrison's this and your a couple of things from Costa Coffee and a few other things. So it's really good as a big, wide database. However, the percentages and macronutrients that they have are obviously do have a degree of inaccuracy. Okay, so when you couple that with human inaccuracy, where we generally underreport, you can have inaccuracy on top of inaccuracy. Okay, so that's why I generally always aim and always try and guide clients to 5 or 10%. Aim within the macronutrients over the week, so we don't get overly stressed or anal or overly obsessive about hitting 115 grams of protein, right? As long as you're between like 100 and 120, 125, you're in the right ballpark. You do that for 6-7 days of a week, you're absolutely winning, okay? Absolutely winning. So it's just something to kind of bear in mind that there are inaccuracies, not only in the heart rate monitors in terms of the kind of calories that you burn, but also Myfitnesspal and also food labels and also just human judgment, okay? Because if you or I sat down, looked at a bowl of rice and then maybe a banana and a couple of bits of chicken or a big pile of chickpeas or something like that, or baked beans, if we were asked to identify how many grams of each, guaranteed we'll have a bit of a difference, okay? Just because it's just human nature. From your upbringing, from your own knowledge, from your own personal experience, it's going to be different. It's not because anybody's been naughty, mischievous, or deceitful, or anything intentional. It is just simply human judgment, okay? So that's why it's always good to bear in mind. It's not about the individual day or meal. It's more about the kind of bigger picture of what happens over the week. So aim for those ballparks. Get within, 5-10%. Absolutely winning for consistency. Okay. So yeah, that's my thing about Myfitnesspal. Use it because it's cheap, it's free, and it is quite handy. But it's not the only way to kind of track. It's not the only way to sort of keep a track of your foods, your total calories, and everything else. But my preferred way of doing it with a lot of others is working off amounts per gram of your body weight. Okay, so for example, a good place to kind of start, round about 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram body weight. Pretty good place to start. And carbs really activity dependent, because that is your fuel source. That is the fuel that gets used when you teach, when you're highly active, particularly doing Les Mills classes, HIIT classes, CrossFit, all those kind of things. Your body wants carbs. So if you're extremely busy and doing a lot of classes, you need to up your carbs more to the 3 to 4 to 5 grams per kilogram mark. If you're relatively sedentary or not overly active on a day, you can bring it down to around about 2 to 3 grams per kilogram body weight of carbohydrate. Fats, generally, this is a percentage of total calorie intake. And generally between 20 and 30% is plenty. We don't generally go below 20% simply for health reasons. We can do that if it's an absolute short-term necessary thing to come down to 10 or 15% for a very, very short space of time for an elite or professional athlete or weight category athlete that is seriously needing to cut weight. But generally for 99.9% of us, 20, 25, 30% of fats is more than enough. And that generally, out of all diaries that I've done, I would imagine that's generally between sort of 40 to kind of 50 grams of fats. Okay, come down to 30s for a day or two if you fancy, but you can head up to 40, 50 grams without any problems. Okay, fats are good and healthy and help hormones and energy and lots of other wonderful things. Okay, so we need fats as well. There is no demonizing any macronutrient. Okay, and that's it. So rambled on for a few minutes now. Yeah, under 10 minutes, so let's call it quits. All right, and that's it, Myfitnesspal. Anything else, let me know. Otherwise, have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Cheerio.